What's up, you crazy elopers? It's Janessa from Simply Eloped. I'm back for your tip of the week. This week I'm talking about how to celebrate your elopement. Just because you're eloping does not mean that it's not celebration worthy. You just married the love of your life. So here are my tips on different ways you can celebrate your elopement. My first recommendation is the simplest. Whether you're having guests at your elopement or not, I highly recommend having a nice dinner. This dinner can be in picnic format at your ceremony location, or it can be a nice restaurant in the area. If you decide to have dinner at a restaurant and you do have guests, I highly recommend that you call in advance and make reservations. You want to make sure that the restaurant can accommodate a group of your size. 20 guests can be a lot for a restaurant. In addition, it's important to know whether or not you're going to be in the main dining room or a private dining room. If you're hoping for your guests to make toasts or speeches, you don't really want that happening on the public dining room floor. So be sure to ask in advance. Also, it's really good to clarify with your guests whether they're paying for their own dinner or whether you're paying. Lastly, be mindful of your budget. If you are inviting 20 guests and you are covering their dinner, that can add up fast. So I would recommend either working with the restaurant to do a set menu or just choosing a restaurant that you can even afford. My second tip is throwing a reception. This is a phenomenal option for those of you that are eloping because it's still celebratory with your friends and your family. You can have a reception with as many people as you like, and it's a really fun opportunity to showcase your elopement video and photos, as well as still have kind of that wedding feel. If you do a reception, first of all, make sure you choose a venue that can accommodate the number of people that you anticipate. You don't want everyone crammed into a tiny little space if you end up having 200 people show up. So just make sure that you're cognizant of that before you book your reception site. It's really good to clarify with your guests whether you're doing a full plated dinner or whether you're doing light apps. You don't want your guests coming hungry and then having drinks. That's a bad combo. It's also good to let your guests know whether or not you'll be hosting the bar. Are they paying for their own drinks or are you treating? It's just good to put that up front. Be super cognizant of when your photographer and videographer will be delivering your photos and your videography. If you intend to share these assets at your reception, it's just good to make sure you're gonna have them. Sometimes it can take 6 weeks or longer to get your photos and videos back from your vendors. So if you need them in a rush, you might have to pay an expediting fee, and that's just great to get out there in advance. Simply Eloped's turnaround time for photos is 14 days or less after your ceremony, but I'm gonna tell you that is not industry standard, so just make sure you ask. When you're inviting guests to celebrate with you, you gotta give them advance notice. Otherwise, they might not be able to make it. So I definitely recommend giving your guests 3 months all the way up to a year notice in advance so that they can put it on their calendar and make sure that they're attending. Lastly, it's just great to set expectation with your guests. Are you expecting gifts or not? Are they expected to dress up or not? I just highly recommend you get all those things out in the invitation. That way they know what to expect upon coming to your reception. My third tip is throwing a good old-fashioned party. Get a dance floor, a live band, a DJ, and play some beats. Everybody loves a good dance party. The nice part about a party is it's a little more casual and generally a little less expensive. Let your guests know whether you're providing light apps or not. Let your guests know if you're providing the hosted bar or not. But in general, your guests know that they're just coming to party. I really recommend a food truck at your dance party so that your guests have something substantial to eat should they choose, but they can pay for it themselves. You can have your dance party inside, but everyone loves to dance under the stars. So if you can make it outdoors, I highly recommend that. My fourth and last tip, I like to call the Tour de Familia. This is just essentially traveling around the country and meeting your individual friends and family over dinner or drinks so that they have the opportunity to congratulate you on your elopement in person, as well as, treat you to a drink or dinner. It's just a nice way to connect with people in person. So those are my tips on how to celebrate your awesome elopement. I hope you loved it. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell, and see me here next week for my tip of the week.